Welcome to POSH Judgements, your window into the latest court rulings shaping workplace dignity and safety across India. Stay updated as we bring you real cases, real decisions, and lessons that matter, because awareness is the first step to prevention.
Welcome to POSH Judgements on Metis POSH Radio, India's first radio station dedicated to POSH awareness. Today, we explore a powerful decision from the Madras High Court, one that reinforces a core principle of the POSH Act, that sexual harassment is defined not by what the accused believes about their own conduct, but by how their behaviour makes the recipient feel. This judgment reshapes the understanding of decency at the workplace and highlights why a woman's perception matters more than assumptions, intentions, or even CCTV footage. The case is HCL Technologies Limited versus N. Parsarathi, decided by the Madras High Court on 22nd January 2025. By Justice R. N. Manjula. It began when the internal committee of HCL received multiple complaints over 2 years from women who worked under the respondent. 2 complainants stated that the respondent habitually stood too close, leaned over them, or touched them under the pretext of work. These actions made them uncomfortable and unsafe. After a full inquiry, the internal committee found him guilty under the POSH Act, and the company accepted the recommendation. He was terminated in July 2019. The respondent then approached the Labour Court, which set aside the internal committee's findings on grounds that the inquiry violated principles of natural justice, mainly because CCTV footage was not given to him. HCL challenged that decision before the High Court. At the heart of the case were 2 key questions: whether the Labour Court erred in interfering with the internal committee's process solely because CCTV footage was not shared, and whether the respondent's actions, standing close, touching shoulders, hovering over seated women, amounted to sexual harassment under the POSH Act. HCL argued that the Labour Court exceeded its jurisdiction by re-evaluating the internal committee's conclusions as if it were an appellate body. The internal committee had determined that CCTV footage was irrelevant because the allegations related to personal space, physical proximity, and discomfort, things not always visible on camera. They also clarified that cross-examination happened through written questions to ensure fairness while safeguarding the complainant's comfort. HCL highlighted that principles of natural justice differ depending on the nature of the complaint, and that the respondent had not raised objections during the inquiry. Their position was that the Labour Court misunderstood the internal committee's process and ignored the context. The respondent argued that the internal committee had relied on assumptions, had not presented witness statements properly, and had denied him access to evidence. He also claimed that the committee ignored statements that were in his favour. His case was that the Labour Court's interference was justified because he did not receive a fair chance to defend himself. The High Court began by restating the limits of judicial review in POSH matters. Courts, it said, cannot reappreciate evidence or step into the shoes of the internal committee. They may only intervene if the inquiry was unfair, biased, or procedurally flawed. The court pointed out several mistakes made by the Labour Court. It had assumed the first complainant never gave a statement, while the record clearly showed that she had. It wrongly questioned the structure of the internal committee, even though the respondent had never objected to it. It also ignored the fact that the respondent accepted the internal committee's report at first, and only challenged it after he was terminated. The court also emphasized an important truth. Internal committee inquiries are not industrial disputes. They require sensitivity, confidentiality, and protection for the complainant, especially when the accused holds a position of authority. The internal committee had tailored its process to balance fairness with safety. The court noted that the respondent often sent long lists of cross-examination questions, and the committee had to filter them to avoid traumatizing the complainants. It said that insisting on raw, unfiltered cross-examination in sexual harassment cases is against the spirit of the POSH Act. When examining the allegations, the court noted that both complainants consistently reported unwanted proximity. One woman said he hovered over her while she was seated and repeatedly insisted she shake his hand. Another recounted how he asked her to remove her coat from measurement despite knowing her size and touched her shoulder inappropriately. The court found no evidence that these women had any motive to lie. They had worked under other supervisors without issue. The company also had no reason to frame the respondent. A significant observation in the judgment was that CCTV footage is not decisive in such cases. Cameras cannot capture discomfort, body language, or unwanted closeness. The court said that in sexual harassment cases, the feelings of the complainant matter more than witnesses, camera.
This was a simplified summary of an actual court judgment, created to help listeners understand the essence of the case and its relevance to workplace safety and POSH law. It is not a verbatim reproduction of the official judgment, and certain details have been adapted for clarity and ease of understanding. If you wish to read the complete judgment, along with all cited laws, sections, and case references, please visit www.metisposh.com.